How's it going, everyone? It's Ryan here at Dip Define Vinyl Solutions. I hope you're all well. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about doming resin. The do's, the don'ts, the things that I've learned, and give you a couple of ideas on how you can apply it to your products and make a business out of it. So let's check it out. Right, so what is doming resin? So doming resin comes in cartridges like this. It's a polyurethane resin, and it's different to other resins because this one has sort of a soft set on it. So it remains flexible, it's got great UV resistance, and can be used for a wide range of things. Pin badges, car badges, it could be used for promotional products to keep things safe. It has got a lot of applications and it comes in really handy. Now, purchasing your doming resin kit, I use a website called mdpsupplies.co.uk. It's a fantastic website. They sell lots of stuff like this. They sell craft vinyl, car vinyl, they do pre-cut fabricated letters, sign writing tools. They have a whole range of products. It's definitely worth you guys checking it out. Now, if you're new to doming, they have a doming resin starter kit. I recommend you purchase the starter kit, but you could also do it a lot cheaper. The starter kit is £55. That doesn't include delivery or VAT. In the starter kit, you get 3 cartridges, you get your application gun, you get mixing tubes, you get wooden stirrers, you get a white plastic tray, and a couple of pairs of gloves. Now, you can do it a lot cheaper. You will have to purchase your resin gun and you will have to purchase your tubes. It's around £35, not including VAT, for 5 tubes. Same again for this, it's about £23 for the resin gun, but you don't have to buy their mixing tubes. I got these ones off of eBay. I believe it cost me around £13 for 50, and I think they charge for 10 mixing tubes. I think it's around about the same price for 10 tubes, or it could be about £8, I think it was. And also lolly sticks. So for a pack of 10 lolly sticks, I think they charge about £3. You can go to your local coffee shop when you get your coffee in the morning and pick up a load of coffee stirrer sticks. Honestly, it is your best bet. Now, what can you do with it? So what can you do with doming resin? So here I've got an example of a sticker that I've applied doming resin to. Now you can see it gives it a nice glossy effect. You can see just about how thick it is, and say it is very flexible and it springs back without actually damaging your product. Now, this is fantastic for a couple of reasons. It's got external outdoor application. You can do it indoors, outdoors. It protects your product, your image, your vinyl, whatever you want to do. And when you're applying resin, what it does is it tries to find the edge. It's the reason why you use these, is because you use these sticks to chase the edge around. Now, you don't need to use a whole lot. You just put it on. If you need more, you add more. The only problem is you can't take it away, which brings me on to things a little bit later on. So this is an example of a sticker that I purchased using a sticker app. It's got my details on it, and I put these on products for customers or give them away as freebies, just as a little memento to remember my business. Now, here's an example of some badges that I've made for a Ford. So these will fit a Ford Fiesta, a Ford Focus, and yeah, nobody else is making things like this. This is one great thing about doming resin, is that you can make some fantastic bespoke products that nobody else is making. You won't find these online anywhere else to buy. So as a business idea, get creative and start making things like this, because that would be a massive seller. Now, the markup on this, I will charge £25 for a set of 3 badges. It's the front, the back, and the steering wheel. Why do I charge £25 for this? Well, you got materials, so you got vinyl, you got design work isn't always free, then you got your resin you need to apply, and also time. So this resin isn't a quick set resin. You can't use UV lights. It is a 24-hour curing resin. So if you're like me, you live in a small house, you haven't got a lot of crafting space, then that is limiting how much you could do for the next 24 hours. So that's the reason why I charge £25 for a set of these, which I find is quite a reasonable price. Now, when you're doing resin, there's one thing you've got to remember, is that it can go wrong. Here's an example of when you don't do it right. Here's a set of badges I made to practice layering it up and to see what it was like. So you've got carbon fibre, you've got red, you've got gloss back, and as you can see there, it had air bubbles forming. Now, when you get air bubbles forming, you use like a blowtorch, you use a wind resistant lighter, you put the heat source about an inch or two away from it and it gets rid of the bubbles. The problem I had with this was because the multiple levels.
If you don't lay your layers down flat and make sure that they're done correctly, you're going to get air trapped underneath. You can see the little air bubbles coming under there. Another reason is textured vinyl. So carbon fibre has a textured vinyl. If you want to use carbon fibre when you're doing DOMING resin, make sure you use a gloss carbon fibre vinyl. The reason being is because the matte textured one has got more texture, and when you apply the DOMING resin, you lose all definition in it. So another important thing to consider is your environment. Now, I've set myself up a little plastic tub that I do mine in. The base of the tub is like your adhesive cutting mat. The reason why I do this is because the adhesive cutting mat helps it stay flat, and it also helps adhere your vinyl back in to the sheet so it stays flat throughout doing the job. So another reason why I have it in a plastic tub as well is because if you're like me, I've got 2 small children and a dog. Now, when you're doing resin, because it forms to the edges of the job that you're doing, slightest knock or banging of little feet, it could cause the resin to spill out of the job that you're doing. Now, that's an important thing to consider. And also, you need it to be dust free. So the reason why you get the plastic tray in the starter kit is to put it on top of the job to make sure no dust forms on it. The other reason why I use this tub is because it comes with a lid. Put the lid on, no dust is going to get onto my job until it's done. Pop the lid off and everything's ready to go. So let's get into how you do it. So to set your gun up, you put the plunger in, you get your cartridge, take the end cap off. When you start a new vinyl resin cartridge, make sure you keep your end caps because you can replace it back onto it. And so rather than say a half tube, you can still save it and use it for another project. So wiggle that one off, put on your mixing tube, and it's good to go. Another reason why I like these mixing tubes is worth mentioning is these are half the size of the ones you'd get from MDP. And with it being half the size, you're also wasting less product as well and getting the most out of your money from it. So press the plunger until the resin starts coming out. Dab the end off onto a bit of tissue. And now your resin gun is good to go. Right, so as you can see here is one I've already got started. So all I want to do is squeeze the trigger. It starts running the vinyl, the resin over the vinyl, and what it will try and do is it will try and find the edges. Now, when you're doing this, you need to make sure you've got a level surface. This isn't a level surface that I'm working on currently, but once I've finished it, I'll be moving it onto the level surface to make sure that you don't get any uneven setting on your job. So what you can do is you can actually use the mixing tube to help guide it to the edges, and then once you've got as close as you can, grab your stirrer stick and start gently easing the resin to the edges, making sure that it is all the way up, and then it will set perfectly on the edges. So this one's actually pretty good. It's found the edges very well. Now, once it's set in, so prevent air bubbles, I've got a blowtorch here. But say you use wind resistant lighter, you can get a 3-pack of wind resistant lighters from Poundland and they work just as well. Just don't get it too close, because remember, it is vinyl and if it's too hot it will melt. And there you have it. So then we'll pop the lid on and then you let it set. Now, one thing that's important that I should have mentioned earlier as well is your base vinyl. Now, base vinyl, I mean the vinyl that you use for the base layer that's going to attach to the surface of what you're using. Now, why is that important? Well, I use Tech Wrap Craft vinyl. It's a very strong vinyl and it has great adhesion to most surfaces. It's classed as a permanent vinyl. I've used brands such as Oracle before, and the adhesion just wasn't as good. So if you take this badge here, for instance, the one that didn't make the cut. So this is the back of Tech Wrap Craft vinyl. It's nice and flat, and as you can hear, it's very, very strong base. Whereas such brands like Oracle, I found they didn't have as good of adhesion as this does. Your base vinyl is very important. As I said a minute ago, I prefer Tech Wrap Craft vinyl. It's an all-round for me. I use it for most of my decals and most of my jobs. Again, with my sticker from Sticker Wrap UK, then this also has great adhesion properties as well. Now, these are great for businesses. If you're a car wrapper or you do any sort of business, you can put this in shop windows, on cars, just for people to remember who done the job. It's a great little idea. I think I bought 55 1-inch decals for £12, including delivery. I mean, the quality speaks for itself of the printing, and then you add the doming resin to it and it just gives it that little extra oomph. It is a great idea and a great way to push your brand forward.
It's me again. Now, I just want to quickly mention that I'm not affiliated or sponsored by any of the brands or websites that I've mentioned in this video, and everything that you have seen is for my personal use only and for the purposes of this video. Now, I hope this has helped you guys and inspired you to create some new products and try something a little bit different. I'm going to have another video coming up soon on how you can use doming resin to create some out of this world show plates using different methods of doming, vinyl wrapping, embossed vinyl wrapping, and a couple of other little things that you guys wouldn't have before thought about. Now, I hope this content in this video has helped you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.